Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kim Barrett Show. I am your host, Kim Barrett, and today we have the founder of SkillBank, Mehak. Now, she has an amazing story about how she's started her business, which is actually helping other people land jobs in marketing, skilling them up to the point where they can actually go out there and land a job. So you don't have to go and do those several year degrees at university or college and sit there and learn outdated content, outdated information. She's actually built courses that are primed to help you build the fundamentals so that you can actually go out there and get a job. And they do it for free until you land a job. So it's pretty cool. So we chat about that. We chat about a few stories of her doing the old fundraising process and some of the hurdles she had to face against that as well. So if you're a business owner and you've ever thought of like, how can I position my business to attract people in and help them get to an end outcome? And hey, maybe you can cut through the noise and revitalize the industry and do it for free. You'll want to listen to this one. And of course, we can never help you with your marketing. Just head over to marketingmogul.com.au. We're there to help you with all your advertising needs. But until then, let's jump into the show. Mehak, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you making the time.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to get into it.
Absolute pleasure. Now, I always like to start the podcast off the same every single time, which is if I met you out at a party and we're chatting and I said, what is it that you actually do? What's your go-to answer?
My go-to answer is I help people land marketing jobs for completely free upfront. Very quick and simple. That's what my company does. It's what we've been doing now for the last couple of years. And yeah, our whole goal is we want to help people break into the marketing industry.
So what's the biggest problems that you see and hurdles that you see people facing breaking into the marketing industry?
A lot of people just don't know where to start. Like, marketing is no longer just like getting spots in newspapers or billboards. The internet has completely turned the way that we used to do marketing 20 years ago on its head. And with that, a lot of people don't know where to start or what to start learning. And there's very many different niches within marketing. There's paid media marketing where you're doing like Google and Facebook ads, copywriting, there's social media marketing. So there's a lot of different fields and people don't know where to start, who's hiring for what are their favorite companies looking for. And yeah, we're there to bridge that gap.
And what do you see as the biggest, like obviously you mentioned there's many different niches for people to go into when it comes to their, like choosing what they're going to do for marketing and whatnot. What's the biggest thing that you see people lacking when they kind of come into that space from their perspective?
I think the biggest thing is people come into, especially our program, thinking that, you know, I need to know everything or I need to be the best at what I'm doing to get hired at a company. But really, actually, what a lot of these companies are looking for is they're looking for someone that's hungry. They're looking for someone that's excited and ready to start learning. And that's actually what we teach at SkillBank is we're teaching people how to learn and how to show that they're in that mindset that they're ready to learn and put themselves out there.
Gotcha. And does everyone that comes to you in your program have that? Because I know that in the past we've looked at hiring people, and we, especially for marketing roles, you know, we have an agency and we're always looking for great marketers and advertisers, but it does seem to be hard. And I don't know if it's just us here in Australia because we're looking for local talent when we're trying to find them. It's like, it does seem to be hard to find people with that drive and hunger. How do you guys find that when people are coming into the programs, like, does everyone have that, or like what sort of percentage are you kind of seeing that across?
No, definitely not. But it's something that we filter for within the program. The program is really intense. So like within the first week and a half of being a part of SkillBank, you're setting up Facebook ads, you're like learning copywriting, like you're doing a lot of the things that like in college you might not never even like get a chance to touch. Whenever someone comes into it, they're like, you know, we don't move slowly. So like if you're actually really motivated and you're ready to land that job, you will make it through our program. And the people that fall off are the people that aren't ready. They are the people that aren't motivated to put themselves out there. Because like at the end of the day, I don't really think Facebook and Google ads are that hard to set up. It's like really what it comes down to is like, are you motivated to actually like keep iterating on the copy? Are you motivated to actually like find a solution? And it's just running a lot of experiments and tests. It's really easy for us right now to filter for that with the way that the program is set up.
And like, what percentage of people like that do you see that actually have that desire when they come through? Because I reckon like when I look for people when we do hiring stuff, I reckon it's got to be like less than 20% for when like locally here. What do you kind of see as the percentages of those hungry people chasing jobs?
You know, it's how it started for us too. But I think the way that our brand is as a company now here in the US, we're starting to get more and more of those really hungry people. So I'd say like the breakdown of our students, like probably like 90-10 now. Like this most recent cohort that we just started, most of them are super, super motivated to land a job and are like between the ages of like 20 to 40. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people out there that are. It's just how like we've really created a brand around we're there for those people, and we make it very clear within our applications process whenever you schedule an interview with our admissions counselor that this is who we are and this is what we do. And if you're not ready for that, don't sign up.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's a great way to go about it, to make sure you're attracting those right people. And then from there, so once someone comes in, they go through the program, what sort of jobs are you lining, is the person like, I want to do this, and you're finding that, or are you going, hey, now with your skill set, here's a selection of jobs? Like, how does that kind of work from there?
Yeah, so the way that SkillBank is set up compared to other marketing boot camps, we're not teaching everything under like digital marketing. We're just teaching paid media. So we're teaching you how to do Facebook and Google ads in 15 weeks. And whenever students are coming to us, we actually have them on their first week define what are the companies that they want to work at. Do they want to go work at a software tech company? Do they want to work at an agency? We have them set that up beforehand, and they decide that. And then from there, it's making intros to them from companies that are within our network, but we also teach our students how to fish as well. How do you go out there and actually like reach out to companies that you're really interested in and get them to notice you? And then we'll also look into our network as well to see if we can make intros to companies that they are interested in.
Is there any kind of like cool stories you have where you've helped someone land something pretty amazing?
Yeah, we had a student in one of our first cohorts that was a paraplegic, so like completely paralyzed from the waist down, and was making like 10 to 15K a year doing work in Middle America. And after going through our program, he's now making more than 75K a year working for a company out in the Bay. And like we were able to make that intro for him. He's still working from like the comfort of his own home in the middle of America, but he's now working for like one of the hottest tech startups in San Francisco.
That's amazing. Really cool. And so what actually got you like, and what drove you to want to do this to help people?
Yeah, so my story, I was studying computer science at Purdue University 6 years ago. If you would have asked me going into 2014 where I'd be in the next 5 years, I would have told you I'm going to be a software engineer at Google or Facebook. And 2 years into my time at Purdue, I realized that college was not the place for me. I was learning so much more, doing programming assignments on my own, running fun startups with my friends. And after my sophomore year, which is my second year in college, I convinced my parents into letting me drop out and move to San Francisco. And they told me, all right, we'll give you 6 months. And if you can figure this out, we'll let you drop out and actually stay out there. So I moved up to San Francisco, and it was actually like, I was able to start making some money in 6 months, which like got my parents off my back. But it was a struggle trying to get startups and companies interested in wanting me to do consulting work for them. And I started this marketing agency, and it was just like a vehicle for me to learn different things under this umbrella. So like I'd approach a company and say, hey, I saw you guys had like a Facebook ads job listing up. I really want to learn Facebook ads. Can I come in and consult for you guys? And if you like it, great. If not, okay, whatever, like kick me to the curb. So doing that for a year and a half, I was able to build up this portfolio of companies that I really enjoyed working with. And within about 3 to 4 years, I had about a 3 to 4 person team that I was managing, and we were doing marketing stuff in San Francisco. And I was looking at my friends that had just graduated from college, and I found that I was light years ahead of them. I just knew so much more about startups, the industry. I had made so many more connections, and it got me thinking about how there's such a big gap right now within the space. And my friends were also so motivated like me when we were in college to start things and make something. So yeah, that's what led me into saying like, all right, what if we actually helped other people land a marketing job and taught them what they needed to know, and they didn't have to go to college. And that's what led me to starting SkillBank.
That's awesome. I love that. And it was good that obviously you're able to get your parents off your back and get that breathing room so that you could focus on it. Because I know there's a lot of people, I think, that they go out there and they try and they push to do something, and they like, unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, they've got their parents there kind of in the background. But being that you were able to get past that, that was really cool. And so what were some of the biggest hurdles that then you faced when you were doing that? Because I have to assume, being that you're an entrepreneur and growing a business, it was not all smooth sailing along the way. What were some of the big kind of lessons and hurdles that you hit?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing was whenever we started SkillBank, I'm a solo founder, so it was just me. So I think teaching the classes in the morning, and then I'm helping them like doing BD stuff in the afternoon, trying to help them land jobs. I mean, it was all very hectic. And I did that by myself for about a year. And I think that was a lot. And I think that took a really, really big toll on me. But I think right after we closed our round and I was actually able to hire people and create an amazing team, I think that's what really took us to that next level and got us to actually start scaling up what my original vision was.
And how did that process go? Like, we're obviously closing a round, that's like raising funds, right?
Yes.
How did that go for you? And was that all smooth sailing, or like did you hit a few hurdles in the process of that, or how'd that roll out?
Yeah, I think being a solo founder in the Bay is like kind of frowned upon right now. I think people are like looking for companies with co-founders. And then, I would think that also, I think being a female kind of like also wasn't really in my favor. But, at the end of the day, I think real recognizes real. And a lot of our investors that joined us saw my passion for wanting to start something, and also saw the traction that we had when it was just me, and realized that, like if I just had a little bit of money, we could start to push things off. The raise took us about maybe like 2 or 3 months, and we raised about 1.5 million. So that gives us now enough room to actually start hiring and getting a really solid team together.
Amazing. And what was who were the first hires? Who did you get first? What sort of role did you want to try and step out of first to give yourself that space to grow?
Teaching. Teaching. I think that was the biggest one. I wanted to bring someone else on who had maybe spent a little bit more money on Facebook ads, had more experience in that world and more like professional experience compared to mine, where it's like I'd worked with a lot of startups, but it was scrappy. So that was the first thing I looked for. And then after that, it was a growth person to work with me on actually like scaling up the school and the program.
And like, what's the vision from here? Obviously, you've started, you've done a round, you're growing, you're helping people land jobs. Like, what's the next 5-10 years kind of look like?
I want to build the biggest community college in the United States. And I don't think that it needs to be something that's in person. And I also don't think it needs to be something that's 4 years long. I think that what the market is looking for is it's looking for people that are hungry, people that are motivated, and people that want to work hard and just need to get their foot in the door. And you can do that in 2 to 3 months. You can learn the exact skills that you need within that time period and go out there and find a company that's interested in hiring you. So I think that's what I really want to build, is an avenue for people to actually just get their hands dirty and start working.
And obviously you mentioned like it doesn't have to be in person, which I wholeheartedly agree with. How did you find the last, we're recording this in May of 2021. How have you found the last year, 18 months? Like, what's that been like from your business growth perspective?
Yeah, I think the world has become so much more open to online education post-COVID. A couple of years ago, it was like who's going to take this class? Like when I had first started working on it, there was a little bit more pushback, I think, from people that I was pitching this company to. But now it's online boot camps have grown a lot. And I think people that were originally thinking about going to college are second guessing that, because who wants to study online and then pay $40,000 a year to do something on Zoom when you can come to us? And SkillBank is completely free up front. We don't charge you anything until after you've landed a job and you've started making over $40,000 a year. So we're like significantly cheaper, and we're easier to swallow than thinking about being $100K in debt by the time you graduate.
And I'm not sure if the system of education over there is similar to Australia. I would assume it is in some way, shape or form. But I know that when I went and did, and like a lot of my team here have all done degrees in marketing and whatnot, and most of the time it's not anything that is kind of relevant to right now, because we're a Facebook agency and they barely touched on Facebook. They didn't really learn copywriting. They didn't really go deep into understanding like human psychology or anything like that. So I found even for myself bringing team on, like when I've got those motivated people, I kind of had to re-educate them all anyway on like what's actually working right now, rather than going back and looking at Porter's 5 forces and then different other marketing mechanisms, which are important. However, I feel like they've kind of like they're in the traditional marketing sense, as you mentioned, which for us was like, well, I was like, some of that applies, but most of it really doesn't. I mean, I have to kind of reteach them. So I think, as you say, that it's kind of super important to have, especially when you're going through university, college, to come out with a skill that's actually transferable to a role right now, rather than being all theoretical.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of our curriculum as well has been influenced by other agencies that have seen a very similar thing to what you've seen. Is, you know, like they get these really hungry people, but they need to reteach them. So like a lot of these agencies here in the US have started to create their own internal paid media curriculum. And a lot of our curriculum has been influenced by that, and we've gotten a lot of feedback from those companies to figure out what are they looking for whenever they're creating theirs, so that way we can do something a little bit similar.
I love that. And now, as we get towards the end of our time here together, I always like to ask the same question as I like to wrap things up, which is there a question that I didn't ask you that I should have?
Oh, good question. I think the biggest reason for why I'm doing what I'm doing, and you know, at the end of the day, it's like, it's not just to like help people with landing a job. It's because I look at myself as being my biggest project, not the thing that I'm working on. And I've found that just through talking to people and helping other people grow, I can grow in proxy to them. And yeah, I think that's at the end of the day why I decided to start an online boot camp and start a school, because I really want to help other people become the best version of themselves, while I am also simultaneously becoming the best version of mine.
I think that's a pretty great answer for why you're doing it. I love that. And so if anyone's been listening to this and they're like, I want to find out more about what you're doing at SkillBank, more about what you're doing as an individual, like, where's the best place for people to connect with you online?
Yeah, so if you want to follow me, I'm at the THE and then my full name, Mehak Vohra, MEHAKVOHRA, on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. And then if you want to check out SkillBank, just head over to joinskillbank.com. And we're also Join SkillBank on all social media platforms.
Beautiful. So boom, guys, wherever you're listening to this, watching this, check the show notes. We'll have all those links there so you can go and check those out really nicely and easily. I have to say thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you making the time and coming on to share your story.
Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome.
Thank you.